It is the Victory Moment with CK. Join the show as we chat victory in the midst of the uncertainty in life, because each day can be a victory moment if you don't quit, if you don't give up, and if you don't let go. Hello to everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Victory Moment with CK. But as I shared, and I let everyone know, part of my show is part of what I do. And I am also looking, and as we are really hiding this time season where many are traveling, I want to talk about some travel tips that I want to share. So let's talk about know before you go. Hello again, and thank you for joining me and catching this on, on Roku, on Fire TV, and on Apple TV. Thank you to the BHC Network, Media Network, for all of its amazingness, as I would say. So I'm excited, and thank you again for joining the show and catching the show. Listen, I just want to share just a couple of tips, but there are so much more to help you along the journey when you are traveling. A lot of times our travel becomes uncomfortable because we don't know before we go. We don't use simple travel tips and tricks that will make traveling easier, that will make, less frustration. So I want to share these quick 5 travel tips. And later on, like I know I'm later on in this showtime, but listen, I said I'm going to do this because I really want to share these travel tips and I want to connect with you. So number one the first one of the travel tips I want to share is, I think this is the most important thing when it comes to making your travel easier, or is basically start preparing your trip at least 6 weeks before you go. Start preparing. And then I think a lot of things is not preparing. And that, I think, puts a lot of strain when it comes to travel, because we are not preparing before we go. We are not preparing before we, book the flights and all of those other extras. So it's important that we prepare. That's number one. Number two, take out annual or insurance. There are different ways, and I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about that on one of my episodes. I'm not going to get in depth today, but the insurance is necessary. And a lot of times, I don't want the insurance. I don't need the insurance. And then something happens. And what happens is you wind up losing, or the airline loses something, and you don't get reimbursed for it because you don't have insurance. So whether it be on your card that you use for travel, or you actually purchase separate travel insurance, because there is separate travel insurance, it is so important to understand to make sure you get an insurance to know before you go. So in that way, if something does happen, you're covered, just like a life insurance, just like a car insurance. A lot of times we don't want to deal with insurance because we got to pay a premium, and we're like, well, that's not going to happen, and so forth. And I still can remember something that transpired in reference to when I was working, and I almost shifted on something with insurance, and it was a good thing I didn't, because the week before I was about to, or the week before, I was about to do something with insurance. I needed it. And that's what I'm going to say. A lot of times it may seem, oh, you don't need it. You don't need it. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You need it. So I want to also talk about booking early. The earlier you book, the less expensive. I don't like to say cheaper, because I always say less expensive, because cheaper does not mean better. But what it means, as far as being less expensive, that sounds better, because it doesn't take away from the greatness of the flight. So listen, it's so important to plan your flight early. It makes a difference. It makes things easier. You see certain things, and it's just better to make your bookings earlier. And I want to add this. A lot of us are skeptical when it comes to using like a travel consultant and so forth. I'm going to talk about that too, because I talked about it before, but I'm going to bring it back up. Why? And do your research in reference to the travel consultant. um a lot of my clients come from referrals because of the way I handled the client, or the way that I took care of the client. It makes a difference, and that's what you got to do, because the travel consultant will help you in that earlier booking to know the best time to book, and that's what's so important. you know um so it's so important to make sure that you, again, plan out, and everything should not be less than six weeks when it comes to planning a travel, when you're going by air and all of those things. Is so important to make sure that you know before you go. I'm going to add this in, and then I want to share two more things. And in this episode, um, be aware that I'm just going to go into this right now. Allow at least an hour and a hour and a half between flights. It's very, very tough when you are trying to do multiple flights, or two flights, or going, because sometimes your destination requires you to do two flights, and that sometimes is very, very, it's very important of timing, because you don't want to have to be running through the airport and miss your flight because of the planning the flight too close. So yeah, we know sometimes it's nothing we can do with certain things, but your best is to try to have your flight at least an hour and a half between each other. I've been through that and had to hurry up and almost barely made my flight. And I'm sharing this because my experience. And part of being a travel consultant and owner of the, of KM Travels, I've been learning about not booking too close. Not, it's always a strategy. And I say this, if you have a travel consultant that's trained and know what they're doing, they'll explain to you, no, do not book too close if you have multiple flights. It happens, but listen, you have no idea what's going to happen with the other flight. You don't know, and then you still got to make it to the other gate when you get off, and there's a lot of stuff transpiring. So you don't want to have to go through, like get stressed out trying to make it to the other flight. So give it like an hour and a half, at least hour and a half, 2 hours between flights. And the final thing I want to talk about, when you actually reach your destination, this is the final thing I want to talk about. Don't overplan every detail when you are on your destination, on your vacation. Sometimes just go with the flow. That's my final thought for today. Sometimes to make your travels fun and not so stressed and monotonous, and sometimes just go with the flow. Just go with the flow and have fun. And that's the main thing I want to talk about. So as I recap, I want to talk about, start preparing for your trip at least 6 weeks ahead of time. That means the booking of the flights and all of those things. Where, like, learn where you're going before you know before you go. Take out insurance, or make sure you have some type of insurance to cover you. It doesn't matter whether you're going on a cruise, whether you're going on on an international flight. It doesn't matter. Make sure you have some type of coverage so that you are protected. um Book your flights early. As I already shared, do things at least six and so forth weeks beforehand, so that you can manage what you need to get done. And this is one tip I know a lot of people don't even talk about, which I just shared. At least an hour and a half or 2 hours between connecting flights, because you have no idea what's going to happen with the flight that you're on, and then trying to get to the other flight. That's another situation, because when you land, you still have to on board and all of those things. And finally, what we call sightseeing travel tip is, don't over plan. Don't get over excited, where you're like, I want to do that, and that's that. No, have fun, and know that there's planning with that, but leave room for a flow. Leave room, because when you get there, ask the natives there, because they would know. I remember when I went to California, I was able to find certain things because I simply asked the hotel I was at, because they always have everything. They always have the best place to eat and all of those things. So this was just a quick episode of Know Before You Go travel tips, and I'm going to share more about it. But I had to do a little travel tip. And listen, um there, one of the things I have, my personal booking sites just for you. And one of the main booking sites that I always share, and I'm going to share more about it and share, is the Vortex. And it simply just needs your name, correction, your email, and you join with, what we call a passcode, and that's it. An email and a passcode. It doesn't ask you anything else as far as that other part, and there's no sign up as far as fee. And what happens is it is information as far as flights and hotels, in reference to getting a better pricing. I don't say cheap because it's not cheap. It's just a better pricing, and the pricing will give you the pricing. And it's only open to those that have connected to the vortex. So join my vortex. I'm going to put the link in the information so that you can join the vortex. And listen, it is so much, it's just like if you go on Hopper and all of those, all you're doing is you're going and you're searching. And if you need me to help you to search, connect with me on all social media platforms: Elder Carmen, Carmen King, CK, dash CK, and you will be and I will be able to assist you. If you have not subscribed to my channel, like I said, subscribe on the BAC Media Network, subscribe on YouTube. Again, Carmen King CK, at Carmen King CK. That's the official name that's there on my YouTube channel. Listen, let's connect. I would love to help you to make your destination dreams come true. That's what I do. And it is fun to travel. And I'm going to close out on this. It is fun to travel because when you see the world differently, because a lot of things can be resolved when we understand culture, when we understand why certain cultures will operate this way, because it's their culture. And I tell you, one of the major things, and I think I always share this because it changed my life, is when I went to Israel and experienced the culture. And it was a culture shock because certain things I was like, what? But it was so important and it changed my life. And it's part of why I wanted to become a travel consultant. So listen, let your life be changed as you experience new levels with travel. So again, those were just some quick travel tips. And one of the most important travel tips I want to say too is have fun and prepare and know before you go. Don't just the it is fun to do what we call spontaneity, but when it comes to travel, it's so important to really understand before you go. There's a lot of changes happening, and I'm going to talk about that too. I just found out something else today, because part of what happens is I'm in a lot of training, because that's how I can help you and help you make great decisions for your travel, and make the best decisions, and share with you the best places to go. And I'm going to start doing more of that. Where do I go in March, April, and May? Where do I go in January? What's the best places to go now? And all of those things. So continue to connect with me as I share more travel tips and more know before you go. And join me again on my next episode of the Victory Moment with CK. Because even with travels, there is victory, because you learn, you grow. There's some experiences that changes your life. So that's part of victory, when your life is changed through experience. So love and blessings to everybody. Thank you again, as I look forward to seeing you on the Victory Moment, the next episode of the Victory Moment. Again, do not forget to subscribe, like and subscribe, share, like and subscribe. on my YouTube channel and again on the BHC Media Network. We're looking forward to sharing with you. We're looking forward to bringing you what you would like to see. So we need your feedback, and thank you for your feedback again. So take care to everyone. And again, see you on the next episode of the Victory Moment with CK.